On Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News, we usually concentrate on the Arlington area. We recognize that there are many other outlets for state, national, and international news. However, there are some issues that start at a local level, and I want to discuss one of them now. It's the COVID-19 virus. What is a virus? A virus is a kind of organism that some scientists describe as half alive. A virus is made up of some of the same components that constitute living things, and its continued existence depends on another organism or host. Where do viruses come from? Viruses can be found all over the earth. Humans, animals, and insects may carry them, but some scientists believe that they originated over 1 billion years ago before any of these other life forms appeared. How long can a virus live in a host? The life of a virus depends on the type of virus and the resilience of the host. Some viral infections have been shown to be lifelong. Others are eliminated by the immune system of the host in a number of days. How long can a virus live without a host? Some viruses last as little as 1 day, while others last for a week or more. Recent studies indicate that the COVID-19 has an unusually long independent lifespan on inorganic surfaces. How are viruses acquired? Viruses can enter the human body via the nose, mouth, eyes, bloodstream, or sometimes through an open wound. How are viruses transmitted? Most viruses exist in a moist environment, often referred to as droplets. However, the term droplet can be misleading because a very tiny amount of moisture can still contain hundreds of individual virus cells. How do viruses attack? Viruses do not so much attack as they simply invade. The scientific term is infection. A virus simply uses the environment it finds inside the cells of the host. In fact, it has been shown that some viruses even infect other viruses. How do viruses kill? Typically, a virus does not actually kill its host. The virus causes reactions within the immune system of the host. The immune system releases a series of proteins called interferons, which are antiviral agents. A kind of chain reaction ensues with other antigens, which in turn combine to eradicate the virus. In some cases, the uncomfortable symptoms are actually the result of the body's reaction, not of the virus itself. When the immune system overreacts, it can interfere with normal functions, contributing to the death of the host. How are viruses treated? Generally, viral infections are not so much treated as managed, while the body's immune system does the actual work. Antibiotics don't work against viruses, but certain antiviral medicines can help in some cases. How do vaccines work? The history of vaccines goes back to the 1770s at least. That was when it was observed that milkmaids who had suffered from the non-fatal disease known as cowpox became resistant not only to repeated infections from cowpox, but also to the deadlier disease of smallpox. It was determined that the cowpox organism was similar enough to that of smallpox that once a person had survived the lesser disease, they were immune to both. Later, ways were found to weaken a disease-causing organism so that the immune system could form a defense that would be effective against a full-strength version. In simplified terms, getting the minor sickness would help prevent getting the major sickness. How are viruses prevented? Viruses are not prevented. They have existed for many millions of years, are extremely adaptable, and very nearly ubiquitous, at least on Earth. What makes coronavirus unusual? To be specific, the current disease referred to as coronavirus is a new form of other coronaviruses which were named based on their crown-like protrusions they revealed under a microscope. For example, severe acute respiratory syndrome, also known as SARS, was a type of coronavirus that emerged in 2002. Middle East respiratory syndrome, also known as MERS, was another type of coronavirus that emerged in 2012. The technical term for the current manifestation is COVID-19, which is an acronym for Corona Virus Disease 19. It's a little bit like WD-40, in which the WD is short for water displacement, and the 40 indicated the 40th version. From what is known so far, this new variant has a long lifespan on non-organic surfaces. Its fatality rate is lower than that of the other coronaviruses mentioned earlier, but is far more communicable. What can Arlingtonians do to minimize their risk? I'm going to extrapolate a little bit here, using a combination of my own experiences over the years, some earlier research, and some simple logic. In the 1970s and 1980s, I worked in an accounting and payroll department in which several hundred temporary employees submitted paper timesheets from a wide variety of locations: offices, warehouses, even some outdoor assignments. These timesheets often arrived in gummed envelopes, which were usually sealed by moistening and licking by the worker. A laborer working from a warehouse would see no need to get a wet sponge to seal his single envelope, so the lick and seal method was common. Some timesheets were carried in a shirt or pants pocket on the job, where they could absorb a small amount of sweat or other accidental secretion, as from a sneeze. I got sick, one way or another, every year. Usually not very sick. I didn't separate a cold from a flu from a virus in those days. My young son was also in daycare and then primary school during much of that time. We joked about the small children being walking petri dishes and marveled at their apparent resilience. It has also been noted by some that there have been few, if any, reports of COVID-19 infections of young children. This may be attributable to the rapid growth that is naturally occurring in children of that age, but it could also be due to the casual dismissal of childhood diseases. It's hard to tell, but a small child could still carry a virus, and an affectionate parent would come into closer physical contact with their small child than with another adult. Again, I'm speculating here. What can an Arlingtonian do? First, consider your own ability to self-transmit germs into your own body. Remember that germs commonly enter through the eyes, nose, or mouth, but that it is your hands that come into the most frequent contact with all three. However, also remember the other things that your hands touch, things that you might not normally consider. Incoming paper mail after being handled by the sender, the initiating post office, the carrier, and finally, you? You probably don't think about washing your hands after handling your incoming mail. Your kitchen sponge, which has probably been used many, many times before wearing out to the point of replacement. Also your bath towels and washcloths. All of these could be added to your laundry and would benefit from a hot water cleansing. I'm also reminded of a test from years ago in which the greatest number of germs were found not in the bathroom, not even in the kitchen, but on the surface of the TV remote control. This was just one sample, but it seemed worth considering. Now in 2020, the TV remote control is not the most frequently handled object for many people. It has been replaced by the cell phone. A normally careful person might run out to the store to purchase a set of face masks to wear in public, and they might avoid a handshake in favor of an elbow bump, and they might avoid someone who sneezes on the subway. However, they might never think about periodically sanitizing their home computer keyboard or their handheld devices. These are the handheld devices that they touch several times a day. The handheld devices that they hold up to their mouths several times a day as they breathe in and out during a phone conversation. Perhaps a daily wipe down with disinfectant would help. Some other common practices, such as thoroughly washing your hands and thoroughly cooking your food, have already been publicized and are a good idea. Here's a final thought. Keeping yourself free from ordinary illnesses such as colds and flu We'll also make it easier to identify people actually suffering from more serious diseases, including COVID-19. Try to stay as healthy as you can. This is producer Heff Munson signing off.